you are behind in life, period. And it doesn't matter how old you are, 16 or 46, odds are you are behind in life. See, I say that not to make you feel bad, but to base you in reality. Because reality is how we are raised is not optimized. And generally, what happens is we miss critical pieces of a puzzle. Whatever it's understanding how business works, lacking specific skills, whatever it's a social, practical, or professional, you name it. Biggest thing is we must not cope. Because the biggest thing you hear is those feel-good examples like, you know what, Ray Kroc started McDonald's when he is 56, it's never too late. Well, first of all, sometimes it's too late. But, most importantly, you still can do plenty of things independently of your age. But you must not forget the following thing. Longer it takes for you to get to the life you want, less time you actually have to live the life you want. And the goal is to live the life we want longer, because in the end, life is about actually enjoying it. So let me give you some specific examples. For example, which is especially typical for the westernized countries, for kids, if I can call myself a kid, who grew up on the laptop. Well, I mean, younger generation is more of a laptop. For me, it was a mix of books and computer. It's, let's call it, I hope you're still with me after me taking the time to actually write it down. But dating/communication. Why I put it under the same umbrella? Because how you develop it is by talking to people. By talking to people, by spending time in the social circles, etc., etc. And because we're liking that often, and we're falling behind. Because think of a stereotype of an older dude, and guess what, if a guy is 23 but he is lacking social skills or skills of communicating with women, he is behind, period. Often it happens because, again, isolation, or we don't have any, well, see, you cannot necessarily, it's one of those skills what you must practice. If you have someone who knows what he is doing, he can give you feedback, so you will learn much faster. But you cannot learn it through the books or through the videos. You can take the good information, go practice. Then, if you're lucky enough to have a mentor, take your feedback from a real world to your mentor. Get feedback on that. Jump back in the real world. Odds are you're behind on that. Super typical, super common. And with communication skills, one of the biggest things is the fact how you present yourself and how you get your value across. Because I can guarantee it, whichever industry you are at, it doesn't matter if you're in a cybersecurity or if you're a blue collar or if you're doing anything else. There are people in your industry who are far less proficient, but who are making more money simply because they can convey their value to people who actually pay them better than you, period. I guarantee that. Let me give you another example. Let's say, I will make it shorter so you wouldn't have to wait for a minute and a half for me to actually write it out. Under dollar signs, I mean business or business skills, professional life, anything what pays you. One of the biggest curses of our I guess you can say, modern world, westernized world is what we find ourselves. But we do it forever. Finding ourselves is good. How we do it is horrible. Because if you get a bachelor degree number 1 and decided, you know what, accounting is not for me, and decided to go for a bachelor degree number 2, then you got it, and then you know what, dance is not for me. I actually wanted to do music. I mean, you are well in your 30s and you make no money. And if you're unlucky, or careless, or not too smart, you have a huge debt. You must find yourself. You must do it quickly. Well, relatively. You can actually do it relatively quickly. The most popular example, the most common and popular example I give is cybersecurity. You can go into school for 4 years to learn stuff which is barely practical, just to realize you don't want to do it. Or you can go to an online platform like Try Hack Me, play in the practical labs for a few months, and it costs peanuts. It's like, I think it's like $15 a month, and you can actually take a few labs for free. See if you like it, and in the month or 2, scratch that idea, go do something else. And funny enough, you can do it with most things. Of course, you cannot necessarily try to be a doctor in a few weeks, but odds are you can find a way to start working in the medicine on a lower level, just to see. I mean, it's, again, of course, it's not doctor's money and it's not doctor's respect, but if you just want to see if being somewhere around medical field is for you, you can go and become a phlebotomist in your local plasma center, and we will train you. You will actually make money while seeing if any of that stuff related to medicine is something you enjoy. Sure, you will, I don't know how much phlebotomists are making right now, $17, $18, $19 an hour, but you will try it and you will actually get paid for trying it. You will not get into huge, crazy 100,000 or so K of debt and spend years to get there. So, the point is, odds are you are behind on those skills. And the big thing is, I don't want to say it's fast to learn a skill, it takes time, but you can become proficient relatively fast. And if you really narrow down a skill, I want you to become proficient very fast and then keep going and level up. Because in the end, higher you are in your knowledge, better you and more money you can make, period. Of course, given what you connected this communication skills, and you can actually convey your value. And being behind, when you're lacking on skills, you must have all of those pieces of a puzzle. You must have all of them. All of them, all of them, all of them. Because one feeds from another. You have fantastic skills, you cannot communicate your value, you will not make as much money. You're a fantastic communicator, but don't have that many skills. With fantastic communication, you can actually get pretty far, despite not having skills. But in the end, you are still risking of not being able to deliver. You are risking of overselling yourself. There are plenty of risks. I would much rather you have all of the above. This is not a complete example, because the biggest thing is I describe things in generalities. But for you specifically, you might have slightly different considerations and more narrowed, more specific skills. Because in the end, all of it is a puzzle. We must assemble each and every piece as a puzzle. Because, for example, let's just say you are in law school, but you want to become a surfing coach on Bali, but at the same time you would like to have a more actionable skill, guess what? If you stay and do your law degree, unless you have a very good plan how to do with some sort of remote consultations, but I don't think this is how it works. In law, I'm not sure about that. But odds are you will have to do something else. Because if you're trying to take each and every piece of a puzzle, but in the end it doesn't fit together, so here is your puzzle of I want to live in Bali, I want to be a surfing instructor, I want to have that specific group of friends, I want to have an ability to travel around Asia 4 to 5 times a year, etc., etc. But then you are stuck sitting in Oregon getting your law degree and getting into debt. Your entire plan is cooked. That's it. Those pieces of a puzzle don't fit together. And your specific pieces of a puzzle must fit together. And if you would like some help on that, book a free clarity call. Let's break down what you have going on to the smallest specifics. And based on those specifics, let's build a plan where you can take the shortest pathway from point A to point Z and actually start living the life you want. Talk soon.